I have no idea what goes in a sales proposal or how to put one together. And don't they take forever to write for each prospect? Actually, now that I really think about it, do I even need a sales proposal? Hi entrepreneurs, I'm Vicky Brown, and you're in the right place if you want to engage your team, boost your business, and grow your leadership muscle. Now, first off, yes, you need a proposal. It's a critically important part of the sales process. In fact, it's the culmination of the sale, where the sales rubber meets the road, if you will. But also remember, it's not the sale itself. The sales process started long before a proposal even comes into the picture. So don't try to stuff your whole sales process into the proposal, and don't send the proposal too soon in the sales process. Get to know your prospect client first. Discuss their needs. In fact, I did a whole episode on how to handle a sales discovery call. Take a look if you're feeling stumped. Then, once you've had the call, then it's time for the proposal. Oh, and by the way, don't confuse not sending too soon in the process with sending slowly, because the longer it takes you to get the proposal to them, the colder the prospect gets. For example, let's say you need something, maybe bookkeeping help. So you reached out to your friends and colleagues for referrals, or maybe you went searching on the interwebs. In any event, soon you find yourself on the phone with someone who seems to really get you. She understands your problems, knows the things that concern you most, and most magical of all, she's created a service that seems like it fits your every need. Not too much of this, not too little of that. Like Goldilocks, it's just right. And to top it off, her sense of humor seems to be right in sync with yours. This might be the one. It would be so good to stop worrying about all those numbers. So at the end of the call, you agree she'll send you a proposal. Because of course now you're wondering how much this perfection might cost. So you can't wait to take a peek at that proposal. A day goes by, then 2, then a week. Still no proposal. Finally, 2 weeks later, you get an email with, surprise, the proposal. Wait, who is this again? In the past 2 weeks, you've spoken to 5 other possibilities. Other problems have taken first chair. Basically, you've moved on. And besides, if a 2-week delay is her best foot, what's it going to be like working with her? Absolutely no alignment on sense of urgency. And besides, you spoke with someone yesterday that seems to be a great fit. And they sent the proposal yesterday afternoon. Now that showed they're prepared, organized, and responsive. Oh yeah, they're the one who'll get your business. Does this story sound familiar? It should. It happens every day. In fact, it happened to me just last month. An attorney I was interested in working with sent me a proposal and engagement letter 15 days after we spoke. Talk about moved on. By then, I had engaged someone else, they had worked on the problem, solved it, and billed me. I think you get the idea. It's important to be timely in every part of the sales process, most importantly, the proposal. So let's talk about how to get a solid proposal out the door quickly, every time. Now, my framework for proposals is streamlined. Sure, you can get more involved and turn the proposal into something grander, something approaching a sales booklet. But in my experience, prospects want 3 main pieces of information, and they'll always read them in this order. 1, how much is it? 2, what is it? 3, why are you the one to do it? And no matter what order you put these items in, the potential client will jump around to them in precisely this order. And since when they're jumping around, they're skimming, why don't you make it as easy as possible to find the vital information that you want them to have? Now, keep in mind, depending on your prospect and their process, your proposal may be structured slightly differently. For instance, if you're a B2B company and dealing with other entrepreneurs or small and medium-sized business owners, then this is the perfect framework for you. But if you're selling to Fortune 500 companies, well, then you can count on the proposal getting passed around. And in many cases, it may be the only introduction that some people will ever get to you and your company. In fact, you may never talk to them on the phone or have an opportunity to dazzle them with your personality and know-how. So in that case, your proposal will have to do much more of the heavy lifting and be much more customized and in-depth. In fact, your proposal most likely will be one of 20 that they have on their desks. You might even find that they request a specific outline from everybody who's a consulting company because it makes it much easier for them to compare apples to apples. Now, if you want an episode outlining how to create a proposal for a large corporation or multi-approval pitch, then leave a comment below. But for now, let's get back to the B2B small and mid-sized business proposal. Now again, before you even sit down to create the proposal, you're going to want to have a discovery call. Then use the information you've gathered to fill in the blanks of the proposal. I say fill in the blanks because although this may look customized to the prospect, you absolutely do not have the time to create individual, fully customized proposals for each opportunity. Why, you'd spend all your time doing proposals and nothing else. No, you definitely want to use a template. And just to give you a little boost, I've created a service proposal template. It's easy to follow, fill in the blanks, and will quickly get you a professional, customized proposal every time. You can grab it by using the link in the description. Now, there are 7 main sections of the proposal: the table of contents, objectives, your services or solutions, your About Us page, testimonials, the investment section, and next steps. Now, as we go through this, you'll see that a couple of these can absolutely be put in a cover letter or email. So remember, this is a framework you can use and adapt to your style. The table of contents is just what it sounds like. It'll help the reader navigate quickly to the various sections. You'll create this page last. Next comes the objectives. You'll use the objectives section to talk about the desired outcome of working with you. Now remember, you've already had the discovery call, so you know their needs. And by now, you've developed a strong list of desired results that your service can deliver. Now, although this seems like it would be a lot of work, don't stress about writing this section. The secret is beforehand to make a list of the common issues that clients bring to you. Then write a short paragraph on what part of your service addresses that problem and fixes it. Then just go back to that list when you're writing a proposal. Drop in the appropriate paragraph and of course do any editing that makes sense. To the client, it'll look like you wrote the proposal specifically for them. The next section is the services section. It's where you can list your services. Now for us, it's things like retained services or project services. I include the services that I think would be most appropriate to that client. Of course, if you only have one service, that makes this section much easier. Oh, and don't forget to include your unique selling point or USP. A USP is a feature or aspect of your service that sets you apart from competitors. It should be something that customers can't get elsewhere, and it's clear, concise, and memorable. A USP can come in many forms, such as incorporating the latest technology for products or services, specific expertise in the client's area of business, or ease of use. Just be sure when you're developing your USP that you're thinking carefully about who your target audience is and what's important to them. For instance, almost everyone says they have superior customer service. But in fact, that's used so much, sometimes truthfully and sometimes not, that it doesn't really have much meaning these days. It has ceased to be a unique selling point. Next up is the About Us section. This section gives you a chance to give the prospect a peek at who you are, your history, and the talent you and your team bring. Feel free to include certifications and awards in this section too. Then comes the testimonial section. Now, this section is optional, but it does give you a chance to highlight past client wins. Now, I will say that generally I see this information either on the website or referenced in the cover email, because it keeps the actual proposal document from being too long. The next section will be the investment. Now, lots of proposals in the past referred to this as fees or costs, but I like investment because it speaks to the partnership that you want with your client and that they aren't simply paying you to do a task. They're making an investment in the further success of their business. That's a shift in mindset. It puts the client in a different perspective, and it sets you apart as a business partner versus just a vendor. Be sure to include everything that will impact their investment in this section. Implementation fees, recurring third-party costs. Even if you don't know specifically what they are, at least reference the possibility that they exist. And finally, end with an overview of next steps. Now, here are a few pro tips. First, leave the insider jargon for your colleagues. Your proposal should be something that can be clearly understood by a high school student. That's because ease of read is one of the most important factors in creating a proposal. You see, people don't read proposals. They use them as reference material. And like I said earlier, they will always, and I mean always, read it in precisely this order. 1, how much is it? 2, what is it? 3, why are you the one to do it? So that means they'll look at the investment page, then the objectives section, and then the services section. So you should keep the narrative as short as possible. In fact, use bullet points, anything to make it easier to read and grab the information they're looking for. Now, another thing to keep in mind, consider being a bit more general in outcomes. For instance, our target is to increase your growth versus we will increase your growth by 40%. Why? Well, because I've actually seen proposals added to contracts as addenda, meaning those metrics become part of your service agreement. So unless you're guaranteeing that growth, don't put that number in the proposal. Now, on the subject of cost, make sure you've created a fee schedule ahead of time. There isn't anything worse than trying to figure out what to charge on the spot. And besides, without a fee framework that you've analyzed against your costs to provide the services, you can easily find yourself upside down by charging too little. Now, there are a couple of these sections that can easily go into a cover email. In fact, that's where I put them. The objectives, testimonials, and certainly the next steps. By putting the objectives in the cover email, they stay up front for anyone reviewing the proposal. Testimonials and case studies, well, they're usually just too long to include in the proposal, or even the cover email for that matter, so I usually link to a web page in the email. And next steps, well, they go in the cover email too. Things like, I'll follow up on Tuesday, etc. And finally, the most important part of the proposal, well, it's actually an action item. Follow up. So many times we don't follow up, and usually it's because we're scared. I don't want to hear the no. I'm not sure what they think of me, my company, our services. I can't take the possible rejection. Listen, whether or not you follow up, a no will still be a no. You just won't know about it, so you'll sit there, what-ifing yourself to death. And besides, why assume the negative? It could easily be a yes or a maybe, but I need more information. And if that's the case, and you don't follow up, well, you just lost a potential sale. We have to get over our fear of rejection. You don't lose, you learn. Learn how to make your service better, or your sales pitch, or better define your target market. It's all about getting the information you need to win on the next go-round. Now, if you want a quick and easy way to create a professional, customized proposal, try my free service proposal template. Trust me, using the template, you'll be able to crank out proposals in no time and get them to prospects lightning fast, so you won't lose the momentum and possibly the sale. And again, did I mention that it's absolutely free? So why not make it easy on yourself? Use the link below to grab your copy of the service proposal template. If you found this information helpful, please subscribe and share. And remember, your inspired leadership is the secret sauce to having a high-performance team and a wildly successful business you'll love. I'll see you next time on Leader's Journey.